Okay, so we've got a video from this YouTuber named Upper Echelon. We're gonna do a deep dive on this pirate software drama. For those of you that do not know, pirate software is kind of the Lolcow of the internet at this point. Like he's pretty much tons of people hate him. He's just getting a lot of backlash for many different kinds of reasons. You know, I would recommend, I'll leave a link to it in the description below. I would recommend watching Ross Scott's video on the Stop Killing Games initiative. It's a very good initiative. Essentially, the idea behind it is that he wants consumers to purchase a game and it being in its playable state regardless, right? He doesn't want servers to actively shut down and make it impossible for games to be played. The best example I know of this from like personal gaming experience is Call of Duty, for example, right? Call of Duty, as time goes on, Activision, Treyarch, all the studios that work on a Call of Duty game, they're working on a new game every single year. And so all the older Call of Duty games, when you play on the multiplayer servers, they become more unstable because they get flooded with hackers. They get flooded with tons of bots, and the games become very unplayable. Like you cannot safely play on those servers. Some of them will, I think, even pump malware onto your PC. Like some of the older ones, like World at War. I think it happened to someone trying to play Infinite Warfare multiplayer as well through Steam. So the only safe way to play multiplayer on the older games is if you download Plutonium, which is a software that people use to connect to like third-party servers that you can play those games safely on again. But yeah, I mean, in some more extreme cases, some servers will just shut down entirely, and you just won't be able to play on it at all. Now, that would be fine as long as you can still set up a server yourself. And, like, I guess it could be, like, a LAN party or, like, a friends party that you can have to play with your friends then. So, how does Pirate Software come into the equation? Pirate Software was against this. He was against this initiative, and he didn't like it. He was essentially concern trolling on his stream about how he thinks it's a stupid initiative. He was misunderstanding the point multiple times. Again, I would really recommend watching Ross Scott's video if you want all the context to it. I'm just giving like a brief synopsis of everything and how he got here. But I think it would be fun to do a deep dive on Pirate Software, pretty much everything that's surrounding him at this point. He's pretty much the internet villain, as this title suggests. Again, I would highly recommend watching Upper Echelon's full video. Again, link in the description below, and go subscribe to him, obviously. But, yeah, let's just hop right in. Let's see what we got.
Okay, today is a little bit of a different video, but honestly, I just want to weigh in on something that's been percolating through the online world for a while now, recently coming to a head yet again with regards to a movement that I previously endorsed called Stop Killing Games.
Yep,
which
I
makes
just
me want
talked
to say my
about
piece
this.
and give my opinion on an individual named Pirate Software, who kind of feels like the internet's current villain, I guess.
Yeah, pretty
wide
much.
Variety of communities. Just to get this.
And I mean, like, I guess, like, if you want to look at it from Pirate Software's perspective, like, waking up every day having tons of people on the internet hate you, that's probably not easy. Like, that probably is, like, not an easy thing to go through at all. But at the same time, I have a hard time feeling bad for him because in a lot of cases, he just does it to himself. Right? And I'm just not really going to hide how I feel about that. But is some of it overblown? Probably, maybe. I don't know. I mean, we're going to watch all of it, and I'm going to give my take as we go through each controversy.
Out of the way, I don't typically talk about drama. I focus on technology, above all else, finance, video games, predatory practices.
Oh, stop. We all love the drama slop every now and then. I mean, like, listen, I know some people don't like drama, like, genuinely, deep down they don't. But there are some people who claim to not like drama, but will still actively scroll through it and watch it and engage in it. Like, just admit that you like drama slop, okay? Like, just admit it, alright? But, I don't know. I don't know Upper Echelon very well. Maybe he genuinely doesn't. But, there's a lot of people who are a little dishonest about that. I'm not saying that applies to Upper Echelon, but, just a quick little annotation, I suppose.
And sometimes politics. But for this one, instead of a whole investigation or a complicated breakdown, I want to try and give some insights on what I think is really happening with the pirate software situation, and explain why nothing here actually matters, because the internet mob will probably never get what they want. For anyone who's relatively...
Probably not. And there's a huge conversation to have about if you get canceled, like, or if you go have an internet mob go after you. A big part of that cancellation is how you react to it. I think so. And obviously it depends on the space that you're in and everything. It depends on the audience you cultivate, you know, like when I had my cancellation, I had to take a step back, you know. I mean, I responded once, it didn't do super well, so I had to just take a step back, you know, reevaluate how I do things. And yeah, we're here now, and I'm like switching up the content a bit, and I kind of want to just like restart my audience, you know. Definitely want to cultivate a newer, nuanced audience, I believe. And I think that's what Pirate Software needs to do. He just keeps feeling the need to defend himself over and over and over again against the mob. And I feel like it's just better if you take a step back, get your shit together, don't respond to every single thing, because there's going to be people that are never going to be satisfied. They're going to be like, take accountability and all that stuff, but they'll never actually elaborate what that means. That's really it. You know, you just got to take a step back, like reevaluate how you do things, and just get your shit together. But like, that's what I mean when I say Pirate Software kind of just does this a lot to himself more than anything, based on what I've seen.
Unaware, even though news about this guy has been ping-ponging around various platforms like YouTube and Twitch and TikTok for, like, I don't know, 6 months straight.
Cringe.
Pirate Software is an ex-Blizzard employee turned streamer, and lately...
Yeah, and so is his father.
Lolcow. Lolcow, for those of you who don't follow sort of deep internet lore, Lolcow is a Kiwi Farms term, which means someone who can be milked for laughs. Actually, it goes even further than that, widely used to refer to...
Yeah, I mean, being in Lolcow territory is definitely not fun, I'll say that.
Chan initially. But Kiwi Farms is probably the most widely recognized platform where it typically resides. It's basically someone who does stupid things, has ridiculous opinions, or gets easily goaded into various behaviors that other people find to be ridiculous, incorrect, or just plain cringeworthy. Examples of other streamers that are widely considered to be...
Yeah, like a good example of a Lolcow would be like DSP Gaming, or Chris Chan, or Birdie if you tuned into the art community drama. Holy fuck. I don't think I already tuned into the Birdie drama, so I don't think there's really much of a point to go over it here. But let me just say, the Birdie drama is a hell of a rabbit hole. If you know, you know.
The Lolcows would be Darkside Phil, of course, also
yep,
known as DSP. Wings of Redemption.
I promised I didn't pre-watch this video, guys.
Even maybe Boogie2988 more recently. In all honesty, it's really not...
Yeah, I mean, Boogie2988, like, faked cancer as well. Like, that's, like, pretty fucking scummy. He, like, tried to get donations for his cancer, but in reality, he just spent it all on crypto. What a fucking loser.
People are ridiculed, insulted, and often degraded for entertainment purposes by tens of thousands of viewers. But if we're trying to make sense of the current situation, the pirate software situation that is, we have to understand that widespread mockery and ridicule is a core component of what's happening right now. Here's a lightning-fast summary of how it all went bad for him, before I try to explain, in my opinion, why it will never end in the way that most people seem to want it to. Here goes.
Yeah, I mean, it probably never will, realistically. I mean, Pirate Software is, like, at a point where he just doesn't think anything he does is wrong. Like, ever. And we're about to go into how this all started to begin with. The way this all started with Pirate Software is actually fucking hilarious. And, like, I'm sure Upper Echelon is going to explain it, but,
as of when this video gets made, Pirate Software was part of a classic WoW guild called OnlyFangs. The guild contained a pretty hefty number of large streamers, that was like the whole purpose of it, and as a result had millions upon millions upon millions of viewers for almost everything that they ever did. During the daily activities of the guild, Pirate Software ran into a situation where his group, or rather the group he was in, he wasn't the leader, made some mistakes. Being that the game is hardcore, if you die, there's no coming back on that character. You can make a new one, which can take hundreds of
hours. So there's like very high stakes. Some people, for context, I'm not a huge WoW player, so I'm sure if any of you guys are WoW players, you can give more context in the comments. But a lot of people think WoW is a little too easy, generally speaking, if you just play it normally. So hardcore mode adds like an extra layer of difficulty, and there's like more stakes. You can't like raid as easily, you can't take as many risks, you have to like play strategically. And obviously it's very entertaining, and there was like so many viewers watching this. And WoW really had like a massive comeback in like, I noticed in like 2024, a little bit this year as well in 2025. It's like amazing that the game is still alive after all this time. But yeah, Pirate Software made some mistakes for sure, to my knowledge anyways. I'm not a WoW expert. And he just would not take any accountability for any mistakes at all. He would just constantly deflect and deflect. And I think Upper Echelon is going to explain it here, but...
So after the mistakes were made, the group fractured and communication broke down. During the chaos, Pirate Software ran for his life and basically adopted a sort of every man for himself mentality, which didn't necessarily kill his teammates, but he probably could have helped save them. Basically, he just played super badly. Okay, that's it. Well,
yeah, I mean, like, listen, in a team-based game, like, and if also you're running a raid, you do have to work as a team, like, if you're within a WoW raid. Like, I know, like, I've seen briefly, like, how that works. But, yeah, like, just in any team-based game, you gotta, like, also help out your teammates as well. Like, you can't just, like, be there for yourself. Like, I understand there's a lot of people that play for themselves and think that they can carry teams and stuff. I understand that. But also, you do have to be a team player as well. You can't be a selfish asshole. That's just, like, the bottom line, right?
when you're talking about the hardcore online gaming communities, that's like...
And also, can we, like, bring up for a moment that, like, there's nothing wrong with taking responsibility for stuff. Like, there's nothing wrong with admitting you, like, fucked up on something or you did something wrong. Like, I do it a lot as well whenever I try to get something wrong or whenever someone tells me that I'm doing something wrong. Like, I try to admit when, you know, when things go wrong. Like, even, like, a video game, like, I've tried to, like, be more cognizant of it. Back then, like, back when I used to play, like, multiplayer games like CSGO, and even in my early days of playing, like, Dead by Daylight, for instance, like, I would pretty much always bitch about everything. Like, I think we've all had those moments where we all, like, bitch about everything as we're trying to get better at the game. But, like, eventually I got to a point where I'm like, okay, I have to take a step back. I have to learn how to actually get better at stuff. You know, I have to actually learn how things work. I have to learn different mechanics. I have to learn how to, you know, be more strategic with my plays, you know. And nowadays, I try my best to apply that to as many games as I can. Like, obviously, I still have my moments. I don't really play as many multiplayer games anymore these days. I usually just play, like, zombies by myself, or sometimes I'll just, like, stick to single-player games. But, yeah, I mean, it's, like, that's generally, like, the kind of stuff that I will try to do. And I think it's okay to be cognizant of your own plays.
The cardinal sin of group content. Okay, it's like the worst thing that you can do. Not to mention the fact that he purports to be extremely good at the game, which resulted in a tidal wave of...
See, that's another thing, is that Pirate Software, he really boasts about a lot of different things, like coding, game development, being good at games, even if he, like, makes tons of fucking mistakes. And if you go on Dr. K, right, he did, like, a whole session with Dr. K. He thinks that he genuinely... I actually do believe this. He genuinely thinks... from his perspective, he does nothing wrong. And he, like, over-explains himself. This is not me, like, diagnosing him or anything. I'm not a mental health expert, but he might, like, legitimately be a narcissist. I don't know. Like, and I know a lot of people use that as, like, a buzzword, especially on TikTok. A lot of people use narcissist for attention. There's a lot of that on TikTok specifically, and probably on Twitter as well. But, like, Pirate Software might, like, legitimately be a narcissist. Like, and I like, again, don't take that as, like, a diagnosis. I'm not a mental health expert, but he shows a lot of signs of it.
Memes, and to be completely honest with you, whether or not you think it's deserved, harassment, okay? People harassed him a lot. Now, I never talked about this back when it first happened, because I could not possibly care any less. Some guy made a mistake in a video game, and everyone dogpiled on against him, but...
Okay, so I have to, like, edit this in post because OBS kind of freaked out there for a moment. That was very weird. But basically, what I said was, it's very strange that Pirate Software is, like, I don't know. I feel like this whole thing could have been prevented. All this drama surrounding Pirate Software, all this internet drama, all this stuff, of people criticizing him, going after him on all these social media platforms. Like, this all could have been prevented if Pirate Software took a step back and was like, yeah, I fucked up. It really sucks that we lost that. It is what it is. And then moved on. Like, most of the internet would have forgotten about it. Most of the internet wouldn't give a shit. But now, like, because he just doesn't admit when he's wrong. He thinks nothing he does is incorrect. He thinks everyone attacking him is doing it for drama, which some of us are, you know. I mean, I'm reacting to this video, so we do love a little bit of drama slop. But, yeah, like, I mean, it really is crazy that this all started from a WoW raid. It's fucking insane to me.
The narrative that took shape, which is really stupid in my opinion, because in a vacuum, the entire thing is completely unimportant. The narrative that took shape was that Pirate Software never takes accountability. People love that word. And that's the part that stuck.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people on the internet who are like, you gotta take accountability for this. There's no accountability, but they're never gonna elaborate on what it means. Because it doesn't matter what you say to the mob. Like, they're gonna be pissed off regardless of what you say. They just want to, it kind of feels like a virtue signal in a lot of cases. There's a lot of people that do that just because they want to like virtue signal and look good to their peers. And they'll never actually elaborate on what accountability is. I do think Pirate Software does need a little accountability. What that actually means is that, like I said, take a step back, evaluate how you do content, evaluate how you interact with viewers, interact with the internet, get your shit together, even if it means you have to take a break, do some introspection, and get your shit together. Like, I don't think this is unsalvageable for him. Like, I feel like he can fix this if he does a little bit of introspection, but he just is so unwilling to do that. And that's why people keep clowning on him.
Next few
That's
months,
why
his
he's hit
entire
Lolcow
online
territory.
existence got torn apart. People went back through his archives. They found out that he was almost certainly faking his playthrough runs for puzzle games, of all things, looking up answers.
Was he actually doing that? I actually don't know if he was doing that. Like, I didn't know about that. Was he, like, faking his, like, playthroughs? That's fucking insane to me if that's true.
So smart in front of the camera. People found out that he allegedly sent out DMCA strikes against an indie game that may or may not have actually deserved it for maybe using his voice, but that's not really relevant for today. And so
I never heard about that. Is that true? I mean, like, obviously, if that is true, where an indie game was, like, using his voice without permission, that's obviously shitty. Like, was it, like, an AI voice? That's what I would be more curious about. Because I remember someone made a Cyberpunk mod. It was, like, a Deus Ex Cyberpunk mod. And they used, like, an AI voice of the voice actor for Adam Jensen. They used, like, an AI voice for his voice lines. And Adam Jensen spoke out against it, and he said, like, listen, I appreciate that people love Deus Ex so much, but using an AI voice of me, he's, like, heavily anti-AI. Like, he's very against AI as, like, a voice actor. And it makes sense why he would, right? Like, AI is very threatening to the voice acting field and just the acting field in general, right? So it would make sense. So if they used, like, an AI voice of Pirate Software without his permission, I feel like that is kind of a justified, like, DMCA. I don't know. But, I mean, I don't know. I need to know the context of that.
Something that realistically should have died off pretty quickly, that is the atmosphere of this is the popular person to hate right now. I mean, people should have...
Yeah, absolutely.
It sort of kept simmering down below beneath the surface. On a personal note, I think I do understand why that happened. Pirate Software, for many people, is not a likable person. His mannerisms, his cadence,
generally no.
His attitude,
he comes off as, like, very condescending. That's really, like, why people don't really like him very much.
Weird and repulsive. You know how sometimes when you meet someone, you can't necessarily explain why, but you just immediately, viscerally, and deeply dislike them? Yeah, a lot of people
feel that way about Ted Cruz.
Myself kind of included. Which led to a sort of...
I'm pretty sure they did, like, a science experiment on why people hate Ted Cruz so much and why he has, like, such a punchable face. I'm pretty sure that was, like, a legitimate science experiment they did, but, like, don't quote me on that. Oh my god, my Amazon Echo. Shut up! Had my Amazon Echo go off in the background in the middle of a video. It's crazy.
Feedback loop, where thousands, maybe tens of thousands of people who already disliked him previously felt vindicated by all of these discoveries, piling onto anything that they could see that would reinforce their pre-existing opinions. It's a vicious cycle, and Pirate Software was fully immersed in it. But the reason I'm weighing in now, of all times, is because something else happened. I'll keep this part short. There's this movement in video games, spearheaded by a channel called Accursed Farms.
Yep, I talked about this. Guys, go watch Ross's video, by the way. Again, I'll leave a link to that in the description below. But, like, it's a very, very interesting watch. I've already seen it, so I don't really think there's, like, a point in reacting to it too much. Otherwise, I would make it known that I'm, like, reacting to it and talking about it. But, yeah, guys, go watch Ross Scott's video.
A creator named Ross, who is highly intelligent, and I honestly respect him a great deal. And the movement is all about preservation of games.
Yep.
Lately, there's a problem where live service products can sometimes be taken offline completely, thus voiding the purchases that everyone made to begin with.
Yeah, and like I said, I think a good solution to that is, like, yeah, you don't necessarily have to support the servers of it anymore, but make it so, like, you can create a game to play with friends, you know, like, you can make your own server, play with friends and stuff like that. Like, there are still a lot of older games that still have this. Like, if you booted up Quake 3 Arena, which is a very old game at this point, I'm sure there's, like, still a method where you can set up your own server and play with, like, a couple of friends if you really wanted to. Something like that, you know, that's, like, what I would have. Like, a game should still be in, like, its playable state when you purchase it. That's really what Ross is asking. He's asking for the bare minimum, I think.
As an effort to fight against this, Ross led a pretty extensive campaign to actually try and get political representatives across the world to take notice and do something about it. Well, Pirate Software was an extremely vocal and bombastically pompous voice against
I feel like he was concerned trolling more than anything.
Sure, but he was like one of the main critics trying to like rip it down and demean it. He came out with a couple of videos about how stupid it is.
Yeah, and he pretty much blatantly misrepresented what the whole point of it was. Like, and he just lied about the whole purpose of the Stop Killing Games initiative. I feel like I said, this might be conspiracy brained. I actually think because Pirate Software is like a game developer or that his father works in game development, it really did come off as concern trolling, just because he wanted to derail the conversation, and he was worried that it might like affect the like business and sales of like whatever game they were making and the way that game practice is done. And I guess they're of the mindset that like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They don't want to like change the system of the way they like make their games and like shut down the service. They don't want to like incorporate it into law, because that could be like an additional stress to like game development, because game development's not easy. So I wouldn't doubt that Pirate Software probably did it just as like a method to derail the conversation.
Just blatantly misrepresented the actual goals. Here's a montage that Ross put together of what that sort of looked like.
Yeah.
Oh shit, no, this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit.
Not really.
It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful.
That's crazy.
That's horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. No, eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to
I don't think I'll be doing that, Pirate Software, but I appreciate the offer.
receive
I don't eat the ass of furries, just to be clear.
was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. That's a really stupid
Sitting
ass.
on Twitter for 12
That's
hours
incredibly
can't be
stupid
good
ass.
for your
I
mental
think
health.
This is ass. This is
Twitter is like a
all
white
of this
supremacy haven.
shit then. I dropped the mask entirely. I have no qualms about that. They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing. That
I think
sounds
you
stupid
dropped
as
the
shit.
mask when you failed the WoW raid, my guy.
Yeah, if you combine that attitude while being completely wrong on the merits of the argument, with the realization that he was more than likely faking his own accolades with regards to complicated puzzle
I
games,
feel like it was a concern troll. There's just no way it wasn't. It had to have been like that had to have played a role into his reaction. There's no way it didn't.
and refusing to shoulder any responsibility in hardcore gaming communities, even when he objectively made mistakes. Hopefully everyone can see the perfect storm that happened. Pirate Software had rapidly become one of the most popular online personalities to hate on. This is the part where...
Yeah, and right now he's like currently the butt end of everyone's joke, and that's probably not a good feeling in like the perspective of Pirate Software. But at the same time, it's hard to feel bad for him when in a lot of cases he kind of just does it to himself. It makes it really hard to feel bad for him.
Because believe it or not, I actually have a very good idea of what he's going through. And I'm pretty sure that the end result of all this is an internet mob that will never get what they want, and thus can easily...
Probably
spiral out of
not.
control.
I mean, the internet mob is
Which
never going to be
kind of
happy
already
regardless
has. I
of
just
what you
hope it
say or
doesn't get
do.
worse.
That's why I say whenever you get canceled on the internet, like, a lot of it, I would say, is your reaction to it. And, like, obviously, I probably shouldn't have backed down, like, as fast from my cancellation as I should have. I probably should have kept going, but, like, changed up my content to what I'm doing now. That probably would have been better, but you have to just push through all the nonsense that people do. And also, speaking of which, Pirate Software also has allegations that we're going to go over, which I looked over the first wave of it. In my opinion, are a bunch of nonsense, but maybe I'll change my mind. I'm going to look through everything one more time after we watch this video, and we'll deep dive, so they say.
Well, here's where I'm coming from. Over the years, like 7 or 8 years of doing this at this point, there's been a number of different times where I published something that made people angry, okay? It's not exactly uncommon. I do that a lot. Typically, actually almost exclusively, the people that get the most angry and the topics that cause the most anger are about video games, go figure.
That's not
Gaming communities
surprising.
are a hair trigger, and
Especially
absolutely
competitive
not in a
games.
positive way,
That's
like
really
anything
not
that they ever
surprising.
perceive to be even slightly disrespectful or negative towards them and their friends.
I mean, shit, have you seen how fucking misogynistic the Valorant community can get? Holy fuck.
Well, a couple of times where that happened, one in particular comes to mind most of all, after I had given my opinion about something, whether it be drama or the quality of a product or the behavior of developers, whatever it happened to be. After I had given my opinion, other creators would chime in and do responses to that opinion. In one case, the responses that were done, there were a few, I think.
That just
one
sounds like
particular
Twitter
was
in a
the bulk of the
nutshell
issue.
more than
The
anything.
responses that were done went semi-viral. One of them was like the most popular video that the content creator had ever posted on their channel, I think. And these responses, as well as the rhetoric that they used and the type of community that these creators had kind of deliberately cultivated for themselves, resulted in a completely ridiculous amount of harassment. I was getting thousands of messages wishing that I would get cancer, telling me to end myself, ridicule,
Jeez.
insults. They even tried to find my phone number.
And yeah, those are the kind of people that are very dangerous. There are some people on the internet that just take it too far, man. Like, over such, like, tepid stuff, really. People will try to dox and stuff. Like, I mean, if you look at the Ethan Klein drama, right? There are people that, like, tried to fucking, like, falsely call CPS on his house with the lie that his kids roll around in shit, which just wasn't true at all. And even if his kids or he had Giardia, or if anyone had Giardia, that's not a reason to call CPS. It's actually very common if you just do a simple Google search. Like, it's very... And so, like, people just take shit too far on the internet when it comes to internet drama. And there's a lot of people that don't want to acknowledge that as much as they wish to. It's very interesting.
It went beyond YouTube. far as a platform. I started getting emails, Discord DMs, and basically over the course of like 3, maybe 4 weeks.
Yeah, been there, done that. There's a lot of people that really just take shit too far.
Into submission.
It's not fun to deal with.
The people responsible for it will never admit that they're garbage or that their fans are garbage for doing it.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely not. They think what they're doing, like, I'll even take it like a step further, and they'll even think that what they're doing is justified because they're such a horrible person. Like, the person they're doing it to is horrible and they deserve no sympathy or whatever. But it's like, people always forget that, like, you gotta level how you react to something. Like, even if it's, like, the worst garbage like, if it's, like, EDP, right? Who's like an actual danger to society and danger to children. Like, you also have to be like, I'm not gonna like enforce it on EDP because like he kind of deserves it. I mean, you see, like, but even then, like, I feel like I just proved my own point. Like, I'm also like I don't know. I mean, like, I thought when people were like trying to get his address and like harassing him, I wasn't like enforcing not to harass him. Like, it's not good to harass people in general. I don't condone harassment just as a whole, but I wasn't really like enforcing it on like EDP because like he's an actual danger to society. And like, some people think that what they're doing is justified, but you really have to, I think it's important to look at every single detail of a drama situation. Not everything has to be black and white on the internet. Everyone sees everything as black and white on the internet. It really, like, we gotta just, like, I don't know. I feel like it's important to get, like, the nuance of every situation. You know, I try to be very consistent in, like, what I believe in and stuff. You know, every situation's case by case. I don't condone harassment in general. There's a lot of people that take it too far. Yeah, I mean, you gotta be, like, hard stanced against, like, harassment just in general, but, like, there are some people that, like, that legitimately do deserve it, like EDP, so.
The whole thing was absurdly blown out of proportion for the sake of views alone. But that's also just an inescapable part of the online world. That's what happens when you come at things with an abrasive personality, which I did back then even more so than today. And to be totally honest, I was just reaping what I sowed.
It's a little bit hard not to come at things with an abrasive personality nowadays. Like, the internet is just full of, like, tons of fucking garbage. Like, especially, like, when I read, like, allegations nowadays. Like, there's a lot of people that come forward with, like, a lot of allegations on the internet. And most of them are either false or sensationalized. There are some outliers, like I said. You know, EDP is an outlier. There are some legitimately terrible stories, like Kayla Malik's abusive story. But, the point that I don't know. I feel like in most cases when people have social conversations, we could have a whole conversation about this. It's a lot of overinflated garbage. Like, and that's why I tend to be very abrasive and kind of black-pilled when I view allegations. Like, I actually just, like, for the most part, it's hard to believe anything you read on the internet. But in the real world, most allegations, when they, like, go to the police, I would argue in the real world, most allegations tend to be real. Like, they tend to be legitimate in the real world. In the online atmosphere, unfortunately, there is a incentive to sensationalize and capitalize off of being a victim. And that's just the sad reality. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for saying that. But that's just the unfortunate reality. It's just hip and cool to be a victim nowadays on the internet. That's really what it is. But, yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I tend to be abrasive and black-pilled when it comes to everything on the internet these days. But, yeah, I don't know. That's a whole other conversation. I just wanted to give some insight onto that.
As big as it felt on my side, Pirate Software is going through something 10 times as long and 50 times larger than I ever experienced.
Yeah, I mean, he has a big platform, so that makes sense.
Genuinely offend some people, but it is what it is. That's kind of what this whole thing's about. Pretty much no one who watches YouTube without creating content for a large audience has any comprehension of what it's like to start getting thousands of direct messages. And
no one knows what that's like unless you've had, like, a platform and you've ever dealt with, like, a large amount of criticism. Being a content creator means you do have to take some level of criticism, right? When you look at people like Asmongold, who I personally don't like very much. I think Asmongold gives, like, generally a lot of not so great takes. I don't agree with a lot of his takes. But I'm using him as an example because Asmongold has a very thick skin. Like, he's able to take a lot of criticism. He's been doing this for a long time. And so, like, he obviously understands what he's doing, so I can at least respect that aspect of him, even if I don't agree with most of his takes. And I do think he regurgitates too many right-wing talking points. But yeah.
Things over and over while insulting you. They have no idea the mental toll that something like that takes on a person.
Oh, absolutely. No, it takes a massive mental toll on people, like more than you realize.
Perspective that their feedback matters or has value, but it doesn't. I know, I can already picture some people's faces turning beet red as they think, yes, it does, my opinion does matter, but no.
No, it really doesn't.
Let me explain precisely.
Like, if you give an opinion on the internet, in most cases, it doesn't matter. It's forgotten within, like, the first, like, maybe... Like, if you're even lucky, like, 10 minutes. Not even. Whenever you, like, post an opinion on the internet. Generally speaking. Unless you're, like, a big streamer and you want, like, a clip of a take that you have to blow up.
Why? Let's say you get 1,000 negative comments, where pretty much all of them say the exact same thing. They cite the same exact quotes, the moments of the video, they use the same exact arguments, and they have similar criticism about taking accountability. For each of those 1,000 people...
But most people don't even elaborate what taking accountability means. Like, just to be clear, whenever people say take accountability, I would argue most people don't, like, want to elaborate what that means. It kind of just strikes me as a bit of a virtue signal than anything. So it kind of, like, irks me. It also is, like, a huge high horse moment. But, like, I don't know. When I say take accountability, I try to at least expand on it a little bit. I try to, like, say, here's what should happen. Here's what you should do. There's just, like, a little bit of advice, like, constructive advice. That's what I try to do anyways, because I know if you just say take accountability without actually elaborating on it, it really just sounds like you're on a high horse. It's, like, very, very... You know, I used to do that a little bit more, like, way back in the day. But, like, nowadays, I try to, like, not do that as much.
Reasonable comment that could have value, right? Because in a vacuum, it's the only one. But in reality, the creator reading those 1,000 comments reaches a point, even after probably a couple dozen of them, where they not only know what the next comment will likely say in some variation or another, they're already completely sick of it. Think about walking down the street and every single person that you pass says, your clothes are ugly, over and over. What do you think happens after a couple of blocks? After the 100th time that you heard it, what about the 101st time? Does that 101st time have commensurate value? Does it make you think about something that you haven't already thought about 100 times over before it? The answer is resoundingly no. It is a worthless comment. The 700th person to say it gets tuned out completely, or you just get angry at them, because you reach a point where the feedback has been given, it has been heard, and everything after that point in time is useless, repetitive, dogpiling trash.
Sure. I mean, there definitely comes a point where, like, you hear something over and over and over and over again, and, like, it's just, like, you get sick of it after a while. So, like, yeah, I think there's a level of truth to that, yeah.
Viewers on social media have this blissfully mistaken assumption that what they say matters intrinsically, but that's not true.
No,
what
it absolutely does not.
Feedback. If you want to criticize, that's fine, but you have to do it in a way that provokes thought or provides insight of some kind. Because if it blends in with a fire hose of negative bullshit that's identical to everything that they've been hearing for weeks, indistinguishable from everything around it, a creator's mind lumps it all together and throws it all out the window. But that's actually one of the better scenarios. There was just a situation, like, days ago, like 2 days ago.
Oh, yeah, this situation was so sad, dude. This situation was disgusting. I was considering maybe covering this. I mean, it's, like, kind of past for the most part, so I don't really think it's, like, worth it now. I also don't want to, like, give the Snark Reddit, like, attention to this. But basically, for those of you that don't know, what happened was this person was part of a YouTube channel about, like, saving and rescuing foxes and caring for animals and just being very selfless. And this person had a Snark Reddit. They didn't even do anything to warrant having a Snark Reddit other than the fact that they are diagnosed with bipolar disorder and they have autism. It's not like someone self-diagnosing for attention on TikTok. This person, like, was actually, like, diagnosed with it. And so, I guess there's, like, a weird, like, subgroup of people on TikTok who, like, just attack people for having disabilities. It happens so very often. I mean, it happened with Daniel Larson. And I'm not saying everything Daniel Larson did was okay. That's a whole other discussion. But there's just, like, a weird group of people on TikTok that just, like, go after people and make fun of them and try to troll people with disabilities. And that's my theory for the existence of this Snark Reddit. They just made fun of her. She didn't even do anything to warrant it. And she wound up taking her own life because the Snark Reddit wasn't even, like, giving her, like, valid criticisms. They were actually just bullying her, like, straight up. And, like, this is fucking insane to me. Like, it's just... I don't know, man. I feel like we learned nothing from the Inquisitor situation, but... You know, people, of course, now the people that virtue signaled so hard about it get to fucking backpedal and say, oh, well, it wasn't my fault, you know, other people in the Snark Reddit were doing it as well. Yeah, okay.
29-year-old wildlife sanctuary YouTuber took her own life in large part because of the online harassment.
That's fucking terrible,
people
dude.
assumed that their critical feedback somehow mattered or should be heard.
No, they were just straight up bullying her. It wasn't even, like, online criticism. Like, this Snark Reddit was, like, legitimately fucking bullying her. And then after she took her own life, one of the people responsible for it even doubled down on it, like, on the subreddit. It was fucking really disgusting behavior.
They don't think about the fact that being the 600th person to say, you suck at life, you shouldn't be doing what you love to do, or all of these things, can permanently damage someone's mind. And when we're talking about someone who gets subjected
yeah, I mean, it matters. Like, comments do matter more than people realize. Yeah,
not everyone can handle that. This is the important part, okay? There comes a point in time, what precise number I honestly don't know, but it's smaller than you would probably think, where the dynamic of comments or messages and feedback stops being human to human, if it's all overwhelmingly negative, that is, and it starts becoming human to mob. When that transition happens, speaking from experience,
There comes a point where you get
there's a variety of
desensitized
outcomes.
to it as well,
One,
I think.
probably the most common is depression, sinking into a feeling of worthlessness, which happens to a lot of creators
Yeah.
in that situation. Hopefully,
This
they
is
recover with
true.
time, they take a break, who knows. But for me, and I also highly suspect that this is true for Pirate Software as well, for me it was stubbornness. After that transition takes place...
Yeah, I
when
mean,
it's
like
now
I said,
you-
Pirate Software is just unable to admit, like, whenever he's wrong. He's unable to do introspection. I think that's, like, the biggest problem that people have with him right now, is the fact that he really just comes off as, like, super arrogant, and people don't really like that attitude from him. I mean, like, he lost, like, 20,000 followers. Like, he's been bleeding followers on Twitch, and he's just been losing a lot of people lately. So, I don't know. Most people just don't really like that attitude from him.
versus the internet mob, not humans to humans, all saying the same shit over and over, by the way. The mob is just like screaming the same things repeatedly, each thinking that because they said it, now you should listen to them.
I also think it's like worth noting, just because the court of public opinion thinks something or the mob says something doesn't necessarily make it true. I think it's like very important to make that distinction. And that might be how Pirate Software feels. I think in this case it is a little bit like, I think a lot of the criticism against him is valid. Again, I don't condone like harassing him or sending him death threats or doing all the extreme shit. I don't think Pirate Software did anything to deserve that. But I think it's like worth noting that just because the court of public opinion says something or the mob says something doesn't necessarily make it true. I mean, look at, like I said, look at the Inquisitor situation a while back. People were falsely calling him a pedophile on TikTok, but these people made a plan up behind the scenes to cancel him, and then everybody, like most people on the internet nowadays, they just believe every single allegation they hear immediately. They go and harass him. They go in his comments. They just believe everything, and they take everything at face value. They never look into anything. And then he wound up taking his own fucking life. And we clearly haven't learned from that, because this Michaela person also took her own life as well. Like I said, it's fucking ridiculous.
Once that happens, you grit your teeth and you don't give them a single thing that they're demanding. As soon as it's a mob screaming for you to grovel...
Yeah, I mean, there's a
all
level
that,
of
again, I'm like
how you
99%
react
sure
to
this
it.
is
Sometimes
exactly
you just
what
got to
happened
say
with
fuck it
Pirate
and not give a
Software.
shit
As soon as
about
it's a
what
mob,
those
they're
people
not getting
think,
what they
right?
want. It doesn't matter if you were wrong, and me personally...
And
I certainly
eventually, those people who had their pitchforks and their torches and, like, all their weapons out to try to cancel you and, like, insult you, and, like, the mob eventually is going to move that direction to somewhere else. Like, the internet moves so fast. It's kind of interesting. I feel like that should be kind of studied a little bit.
wrong, at least in one of my most notable situations like this, the biggest one, back a number of years. But it doesn't matter anymore if you're right or wrong, because the mob doesn't deserve the satisfaction. In my case, I had thousands upon thousands of
In
people
a lot of
screaming
cases,
at me
they
to take
don't.
the video down, so I left it up. I had people yelling at me to apologize, so I ignored them on purpose. I had people telling me what to do or how to act or what to say or how to respond, so I did the precise opposite wherever possible and denied the mob any chance it had of ever claiming victory, even a shred, in any capacity whatsoever. My version of surviving what felt like a never-ending stream of filth directed my way, or winning against it, I guess, was to make sure that these people got absolutely nothing in return that they wanted. And it worked.
I think that's, like, probably the best way you can respond to things. Is that after a while, people just get bored, and if you don't react to it, if you don't let the mob control you, or if you don't let a certain audience control you, then it definitely shows you have more power over them. And, like, a huge part of dealing with, like, these, like, hate mobs is, like, again, how you react to them.
Eventually, they gave up. They had no impact on me. They got no concessions. They received...
Like
no
I said, I think
apologies.
Pirate Software just needs to, like, take a step back and do some introspection and then get his shit together. Like, that's really all he needs to do. And then, like, I feel like he wouldn't be getting nearly as much hate. Like, I mean, by the time we get to next year, like, we're going to have, like, a new big Lolcow that's going to be, like, the next big target or whatever. Like, like I said, the internet moves so fast on, like, all these topics.
They got literally nothing. And while I'm certainly not going to sit here and say it's the best way to respond in a crisis, no one watching a YouTube video actually knows how they would respond in that same crisis until it happens, and most people have not gone through this. I see that same exact response right now from Pirate Software, but it's happening on a scale that I couldn't even dream of. His defense mechanism, after the shift has taken place, where it's now a ridiculously large internet mob all against him individually every second of every day, whether deserved, undeserved, right or wrong, it doesn't matter anymore. His defense mechanism is, I will not cave to this mob, which, unfortunately, results in one of the largest torch and pitchfork style internet hate brigades that I've ever personally witnessed.
Maybe. I mean, like, I don't know. I think, like, there's like a positive to having that mentality, is not caving into these people. Because if you do cave into these people, then you are winning. You are allowing them to win. And, you know, obviously, I think every content creator has, like, a level of that, or has gone through a level of that. I think that's, part of that is, like, audience capture, mainly. But the problem is that if you lean too hard, like what Pirate Software is doing, if you lean too hard into it, then you're just gonna make people more pissed off because you just come off as like not willing to at least, like, I think as a content creator, it's very important to understand what criticism to take and what criticism not to take. That's like a very huge part of being like a big content creator. Is there is some criticism that's going to be valid. There's going to be some criticism that just sounds like it's AI generated, right? So I think it's very important to understand what criticism to take and what criticism not to take. So
On the bright side, if I'm correct here in the interpretation that he has a similar fight or flight style response compared to my own, if I'm correct here, then he will properly understand deep down inside secretly that he was objectively wrong about the Stop Killing Games initiative. In a year or two,
he was.
5 years,
He absolutely was. I mean, he like literally concern trolled and he blatantly misrepresented the whole point of it.
And say it. I was wrong, or admit it, who knows. While in the meantime, though, adjusting his content behind the scenes in a way that incorporates the lessons learned from this debacle silently.
Yeah, I mean, like I
However,
said, just get your
short-term,
shit together.
A rabid mob
Like
of
I said.
viewers hell-bent on shaming him and publicly forcing an apology or a retraction, or I don't even know what they want at this point. It feels like they just want him to have a breakdown. I don't think they know what they want either. It's just popular to hate him. But if I'm right about this, they'll get nothing.
Yeah, sure. I think there's a level of truth to people just hating on someone just because it's fun to hate on someone or it's fun to join in on the bandwagon. I think there's a level of truth to that, which is why I think it's very important to look at situations at where they're at. There's a lot of people that like over sensationalize and over affirm a lot of things they see on the internet, unjustifiably so. You have to like look at it where it's at, and I'd like to think that like this is very like valid criticism to Pirate Software without like just joining in on the bandwagon because it's like fun to hate the guy at the moment. So
I actually kind of support that. I don't think the mob typically deserves to win. At the end of the day, Pirate Software was objectively wrong in his critique of Stop Killing Games. Like, just on a factual basis,
he absolutely was.
But that overly confident criticism just so happened to coincide with an atmosphere shift where hating Pirate Software is the trendy thing to be doing. As a result, millions upon millions of people...
Oh my god, is he literally going to say the same thing I just said? I promise, guys, I didn't pre-watch this fucking video. I promise.
Under the worst contextual circumstances possible for him, which leaves him with an immutably stubborn response to a brute force-minded internet mob, which continues to linger, possibly even grow larger, month after month, constantly circling back stronger after each new skirmish with them. I don't even know if there is a valid way out of it for him at this point. If he did issue like a thoughtful response and apologize to everyone, it would take a monumental shift in coverage from a slew of creators all simultaneously to even make a dent in the current narrative.
Yep.
The final message that I have for anyone who watches this video is that none of you actually know what it's like to go through that. I don't either, to be honest. Not at that scale, okay? That's like a whole different thing.
Definitely,
the little bit that I went through was already bad enough. But even the situation that I dealt with came down to personal resilience in the face of literally thousands of people who wanted nothing more than to just watch me suffer. Thinly disguised, by the way, under the claim of just...
Yeah, I mean, you seem like you dealt with it accordingly. I mean...
And the same thing has happened.
Like I said, you know, a lot of how you deal with mob mentality and, like, the mob trying to go after you is, like I said, how you deal with it personally. Unless you're, like, EDP or something, you know, like, obviously it depends on what you did. Like, if you're at the level of EDP, then obviously, like, that's... Yeah. But even then, like, you have people like Dr. Disrespect, while he doesn't get, like, as many viewers as he used to, like, he still has, like, some following. He still has some people that are willing to support him. But, I mean, that man has so much money, he could retire and he'll still be fine. Like, he made so much money off doing Twitch, so...
To him, okay, it's abundantly clear. Which leads me to the understanding that while Pirate Software is today's internet villain, for a multitude of reasons, some of them definitely valid, and it's extremely satisfying to have a collective villain, not to mention lucrative for many creators. I mean, the ad revenue is huge for a lot of people. He's also a person, and far from the likes of BitBoy or litigation trolls or previous contenders for internet villain before him, of which there were many, he hasn't really harmed people, has he? No, he hasn't. Be honest.
That's up for debate. I mean, like, I saw the allegations a little bit. I saw, like, bits and parts of the allegations. I haven't read every single facet of it, but what the allegations boil down to is that Pirate Software is a bit of a furry, bit of a gooner, and also he is a little bit, like, aggressive in some of the text messages. So I wouldn't doubt that, like, whoever he was, like, talking to or dating or, like, having a fling with, like, I'm sure, like, that probably did affect them mentally. That being said, I know a lot of allegations people come forward with on the internet tend to get very sensationalized and very blown out of proportion. And there's a lot of people that just, like, over-affirm them to, like, no end, and I think that's, like, obviously a particular problem. But, yeah, I mean, we're gonna go over it, like, after this video is done. We only have, like, 2 minutes left anyways, so...
Answer is no. He doesn't harm people. They just don't like him. Which I do think makes a difference in how the situation should be treated. That's it. Do not contribute to the harassment that he's receiving, because no variation of anything that any of us could ever possibly say to him or about him in some lame attempt at forcing an apology because we think we're owed one.
Yeah,
or
I
an
generally
acknowledgement or
agree with
whatever it
this.
is,
Yeah.
will ever work. Because no matter what it is, it's been said 50 times over already, 25 different ways, with the only impact of reinforcing his very likely mindset that the mob does not deserve to win. Again, I see myself in this situation. I think he has an identical response to what I had.
I think that's a
and
very
back
good
then, it
perspective
didn't
to
matter if it was
have, is like
10,000
having the
people or
perspective of a
500,000
content
people.
creator
They were not
like
gonna get what
within
they
this.
wanted. I was going to do the exact opposite. Everything that they said. Which, again, not the best response in the world, but when you're talking about the type of harassment and brigading and dogpiling that makes some people end their own lives, it's a decent response. That defense mechanism is valuable. I can't be 100%
Yeah,
sure
that's
that I'm right
terrible.
about all of this, but
What
let's just
happened to
say I'm
Michaela
about as
was
sure as
fucking
someone can
terrible,
reasonably
dude.
be or
That's
get
just
without
like
certainty.
so disgusting.
And yeah, that's it. If you want to support the channel, check out the links down below. A special VPN deal, a special passive income application called Honeygain.
All right.
No relation
Go
to
do a
the
VPN
browser extension
deal
called
with
Honey. Those are
Upper
entirely separate
Echelon,
companies that have nothing to do with
guys.
each other. Saw somebody talk about that. It doesn't matter. Locals and Patreon, monthly memberships, etc., etc. Just great links down below. Check them all out. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching. Question everything, and have a nice night.
Is that it? Alright, that was it. Yeah, pretty solid video from Upper Echelon, guys. Go check it out. And, I guess we'll look at the Pirate Software allegations more in depth. I'm gonna just see if I can find the Twitter thread real quick. Alright, so this was the set of allegations that Pirate Software got. In my opinion, like, I ran through this several times. I ran through it at the time that it came out, and then I ran through it again just to see if I missed anything. In my opinion, these allegations are a load of nonsense, to be absolutely, like, 100 with you. But, I'll look through it one more time. There's some people that say it's really bad, that insist on it being super, super bad. I'll look through it. I don't really, I don't know. Maybe there's something I missed. I don't know. I'm really trying to understand it. That's all. PirateSoftware.sucks. When I was 20 years old, Jason Thor Hall, aka Pirate Software, aged 31 at the time. Okay, I'm just gonna stop right there. It really rubs me the wrong way whenever people like include I was freshly 18, I was freshly 19, I was freshly 20. You're a legal adult, okay? When people do this, oftentimes they try to make it seem like he's some kind of horrific predator. Like we saw with the Katie Bug situation, like that's what this feels like, right? This feels like you're just including this information just to establish that there is an age gap. And don't get me wrong, like the age gap's weird, like it definitely is immature. I personally wouldn't do it myself, like 20 and 31, like that's definitely weird, but it's not predatory. It's not like you're a legal adult, you have agency over yourself. Right off the gate, when people do this, I get very, very skeptical, like, almost immediately. So, regardless, emotionally abused and manipulated me for sexual and financial gain. That is a hell of an accusation. Okay. Thor's actions have had a severe impact on my life, causing me to give up being a uni student and a creator. Again, that's pretty heavy. All right. Thor's friend and business partner, Shay, aka River Makes Fish Bones, aged 22 at the time, while first sympathetic to my situation, would ultimately be a willing accomplice to Thor silencing me. Okay. On my YouTube channel, I would upload piano transcriptions of music from video games. Among them are indie games such as Undertale, Celeste, and One Shot. In February 2018, I would transcribe and publish a track from Thor's game, Heartbound. We started talking about copyright. On August 26, 2018, I would make a large donation of $800 to Thor while he was streaming the development of his game. From that moment onward, Thor suddenly expressed immense romantic interest in me. On the next day, Thor would, unprovoked, initiate erotic roleplay with me. Oh boy. This is, uninitiated, unprovoked, initiate erotic roleplay. I need to know what that means. Like, is it, like, within a chat? Or is it, like, on a voice call? Was there, like, a sense of coercion? Because, like, so far, like, I don't think realistically there's anything stopping you from blocking him unless he, like, was leveraging his power. And he was, like, saying, like, if you don't do this erotic roleplay with me, I'll do this to you. Like, that's what I would mainly be looking for. But, like, otherwise, I'm not really, like, just from that alone, I would need to see, like, what the actual interactions are, which I'm sure we're going to get to in a moment. He started to shower me with affection, praise, and attention, making me feel special and valued, love bombing. However, when I would express any reluctance to commit to him and solely him, he would shame me by calling me corrupt or clueless. Okay, so what are these screenshots attached? I was wondering if you wanted to hop in another call tonight, and not if not tonight, then sometime else. Yes, every day. Like I said, silly. My night stream starts in 20 minutes. If you're awake after it, we should call. Oh, right. But yes, my plan is to be on voice chat with you every day. Okay, I mean, this seems, like, pretty tame, honestly. Like, I'm not really seeing any, like, love bombing or, like, I don't know. I mean, like, obviously, like, it just seems like it's back and forth. It seems very mutual. That's my point. Like, it doesn't seem super one-sided. And obviously, like, screenshots can be taken out of context. You really make my life a ton better. You make mine better, too. Yeah, this is mutual. Like, I don't know. You're so good to me, CC. Maybe there's, like, something else later. I don't know. I don't super trust you after this little side quest, so what do you want? No, like, I don't trust you. You did something really fucking... Wait, what the fuck? I am getting such whiplash with the tone of the... That's, like, changing with these. What? Did I, like, skip a screenshot or something? Okay. I super don't trust you after this little side quest, so what do you want me to do? No, like, I don't trust you. You did something really fucking messed up here. You could have just come to me any fucking time and been like, yo, I'm turned on right now. Okay. I mean, he's definitely being a little bit aggressive here. But, like, I don't know. Maybe... I don't know. I'm going to keep reading. I have thoughts, but I'm going to keep reading. It was when you were asleep. To be fair, our sleep schedules don't exactly align. Who gives a fuck if I was asleep? Sorry, I fucked someone else, but you were asleep at the time. So, well, did you establish if you were monogamous or non-monogamous? Like, that would be, like, very important. That's, like, something I would look for. After conflating role-playing with real-life sex... okay, I don't really like the framing of that. Thor accuses Lyric of cheating. No, right now I'm super not... Okay, so it probably is monogamous then. I would assume so. And apparently, like, Thor was married at this time, too. That's what Lyric alleges as well. So, I don't know. No, right now, I'm super not. You broke my trust and showed me you could easily just cheat on me on a whim. Okay, I mean, it could be... I mean, if Thor is married here, like, that is massive levels of protection here, for sure. But, like, I don't know if there's, like, actual... Is there, like, actual proof that he was married at the time of this? Are you saying you're interested in a casual thing with me, but not a serious one? I'm attracted to you, but I'm not ready for commitment yet. Okay. So sexual stuff with me, but also with others then? I just, like, want to be friends or closer, you know? When is this screenshot? It's like, you have the dates for everything else. When is this screenshot? Okay. Listen, they have a Pirate Software Sucks website, so I assume we're going to find it there. So if it's a situation of me being one of the multiple friends with benefits kind of things, I just wouldn't be into it. I understand. Does that change any of your answers? Yes. I want to be friends or close friends. Okay. So that's a clear boundary set. Okay. Fair enough. I guess that gives a little bit of credit to Lyric here, because you are setting proper boundaries. I want to go to TwitchCon with you still. You seem to want to hook up at TwitchCon. Is this the case or not? I wouldn't be opposed. So if you want an IRL sexual relationship with me but not committed, and you don't want to have sex IRL with anyone else, right? Yes? Smacks your head. This is the interjection of the roleplay is fucking... Okay. That's the same thing as being in a committed relationship, you dingus. Wait, what? Wait, what? Hold on. Yeah, no, this is not the same thing. Thor is eroding Lyric's trust in their own wants. You say you don't want a relationship, but you want it, and I will make you realize... Well, no. They did set boundaries earlier, to be fair. I don't think that's the same thing as a committed relationship. It almost, I wouldn't, if I'm reading between the lines just a little bit, so far it almost seems like a situationship. If I'm just like reading between the lines just a little bit here of what's going on. I don't know. Okay. After he manipulated me into asking him to date me, he was able to convince me to act my part of an official relationship without being official by hesitation. Well, just to be clear, I'm not really a fan of the frame of manipulated me into convincing him to date me. I'm not really a fan of that. He is a little bit pushy, sure, but I'm not really, like, seeing anything, like, manipulative necessarily. That's, like, a very... Manipulative would be, like... I don't know. I don't think this would strike me as manipulative. It's more just, like, he's trying to simply just explain, like, why he wants a committed relationship, not a... I don't know. Like, obviously, like, you have every right to say no. You do have agency over yourself. And so does he, of course. But, you know, this probably, I don't know. I just wouldn't be able to give you the time that you deserve. What does that even mean? I'm a double-time student, and I'm just a total mess right now in terms of responsibilities. I just don't know if you can handle more stress. I was infatuated with you when we first met. I mean, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt that. There's probably a level of infatuation. It slowly died down. And I mean, like, this ran its course. Like, it could have ran its course, and then, like, that's that. Like, shit happens. When we first met, yes, I was obsessed, really. Especially when you wanted me to voice call every day. That made me really happy. VCs mean a lot to me. What changed? From my side, it changed when you started, in your own words, flirting around. I mean, like, yeah, okay. Like, if Pirate Software is not a fan of that, like, obviously, you don't have to push Lyric, of course. But, like, I feel like if it didn't work out, you don't have to, like, I don't know. Maybe there's, like, more context I'm not seeing. I want to see, like, everything. Like, I am a little bit skeptical. Just, like, first face, but... You said you wanted to have a better idea of what you want for your future. What is it that you want? I want to be stable and focus on one person. Vague, but positive at least. Ideally, the end goal would be to live with my significant other. I guess that would be obvious, though, wouldn't it? Or rather, I guess that's one of many end goals. Well, I guess I wish you luck then. It's a good, solid, positive plan. Okay. So... Wait. Let me just think about this for a moment. So, if we look back at these other screenshots, right? These are in the summer of that same year, right? We go here. No. It's this one, right? Into October. So that's 2 months later. Yeah, I mean, like, if you have a significant other, I don't know if if Lyric established that they weren't monogamous or not, so I can't really speak for that. But, like, I don't really... It just seems like they're just working out boundaries here. Like, I don't really see Pirate Software as being manipulative here, I'll say that. Like, obviously, Pirate Software is very unlikable, but I'm going to be proportionate based on the evidence I see. Like, I'm not really, like, seeing any... hardcore manipulation. Nod, uwu. At first, I thought you meant with me, but it's clear you didn't. I'm going to get back to coding. I mean, okay, yeah. I don't even know if you would want me after all this. I like you. Good luck with coding. Okay. Thor, I would like to date you. I felt like I should have been more direct about that. Yeah, that's a much nicer change. I'm glad you like that. Okay. I'm sorry. Now I'm gonna be a little bit uncharitable to this Lyric person. It's like, okay, there's a lot to this story, obviously, and so, like, I don't remember every single detail, but now, like, I remember this specific part. Now I remember why this was such a fucking nothing burger. Why are you going back to wanting to date him? Like, you could have left it at that. Like, you said you didn't want to, like, commit to him. You wanted to live with your current partner and stuff, but now you're like, I want to date you and stuff, and you're like approaching him. It's like, I don't know, like, obviously, like, you guys set your boundaries, and that's that, but now you're, like, pulling him in, you're, like, doing this constant push and pull with him. It's like, listen, I understand, like, relationships can be very complicated, people can have push-pull dynamics. I was guilty of it at one point, too, you know, like, we've all been there. Obviously, I've gotten better at it, and I don't like doing that anymore. Like, it's very, generally speaking, it's not good behavior to do. You should get out of it, and you should recognize that it's a problem. So I do try to, like, get out of it. But, like, I don't know. Like, you can't just... How are you going to say that he manipulated you into asking him to date when you, on your own volition, are like, Thor, I want to date you? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, that, like, it feels almost contradictory to what you're accusing him of. As long as we don't have any more surprise like this, then yes. I'd like a week for things to calm down. Okay, yeah, sure, fine. I'm going to have fun with you at TwitchCon. Oh, wait, why are we in September again? Throughout our conversations, he consistently pushed for us to meet at TwitchCon 2018. He would bring up how nice of it was. A lot of fun there, even counting down the days until we met. Why are we showing these out of... Okay, whatever. Maybe I'm just being a nitpicking asshole. Who knows? Cuddling is also on my list if we have time for that. I call Big Spoon. Okay, so you guys are obviously planning on meeting to fuck. Like, that's what this is, right? Like, we understand that's what this is, right? You guys are planning to hook up. That's like what I'm getting at from these messages. How unfortunate it would be if innocent cuddles turned into something more. Yeah, like, you're not even, like, dog whistling it. Like, this is just, like, you overtly saying that. 15 more days, 5 days. Yeah, whatever. Who cares? It's, like, fine. Super wanty, yada yada yada. Met up at TwitchCon as planned on October 26th. And to Lyric's credit, like, this is true. I mean, like, obviously, if these text messages are real, that's, like, as explicit as it gets that they met up. Like, these text messages obviously aren't fake. I really, personally don't care that they met up and hooked up. Again, they're both legal adults. Age gap's a little bit weird. Certainly not predatory. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. It's not predatory. If it was consensual, then, like, that's kind of, like, I don't know. This is pretty tame in comparison to a lot of, like, sex manipulation scandals that I've read on the internet. There's, like, I think most allegations on the internet, as I said earlier in this video, tend to get very sensationalized, so... On the first day, we roamed with Shay and some other streamers. By night, the group went to a bar, but I could not join since I was under... Okay, so just to be clear, when they say I was underage, they're underage to join the bar. I don't really like the framing of this because you're trying to make it sound like underage as in, like, you're a minor. Alright? Like, I don't really like that. Like, yes, you are underage, but you're underage to drink. I don't really like the framing of this. It's almost like you are counting on people to, like, misunderstand that one part because, like, the internet has a very low attention span to these things and they don't really like looking into details for the most part. So I'm not really, like, a huge fan of this framing. I'm going to be absolutely real with you. Later that night, Thor excused himself from the bar to join me in my hotel room. Okay, fine. That's fine. On the second day, while we were roaming around without Thor, Shay mentioned that Thor had a secret wife. Okay, so yeah, no, I was right. Yeah, he was married at the time. After we went back to Thor's hotel room, I messaged him asking about this wife, which he denied and blamed me for misunderstanding and refused to talk, so I messaged Shay. As far as I knew, we were fooling around and seeing if we're compatible. You've been pushing for a lot of commitment kind of thing, but I have a lot of work stuff going on not all the time, and a wife apparently. Is there a ring on my finger? There's not. I just heard about it. That's all. Neat. I don't want to jump to conclusions, so I just wanted to talk, I guess. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make it weird. It's a bit weird. Okay. Fine, I guess. Whatever. I explained my situation to Shay. When asked if it was true, I sent screenshots of me guiding Thor to my room. Shay was sympathetic and would tell me that they and Thor were sexual partners and had agreed to be open at the con as long as it communicated. Okay, yeah, then yeah, that's fine. I mean, I don't think they insinuated that Thor was cheating on his wife if they're in an open relationship. Okay. Shay was devastated that Thor broke their trust by sleeping. Wait, why would they be upset if they agreed to be open at the con as long as they communicated it with each other? Was he, like, not communicating it, maybe? Was that what it was? Shay was devastated that Thor broke their trust by sleeping with me and messaged Thor about his uncommunicated infidelity. Thor blamed me and denied any involvement with myself or Shay. After I left the room, he blocked me. I'm sorry. Nah, dude, you're not. Sending logs to Shay? What? I don't even know what you want. Please leave me alone. You showed Shay logs of our conversations, and now he's talking to me about them. Why would that ever be okay is beyond me. Okay. I have no words for you right now. If you would have told me what's going on, I would have been fine with it. Don't really care, dude. Nothing is going on. Bro, I'm going to be absolutely so real with you. So far, based on everything we've read so far, what this boils down to is a very complicated situationship. Both people are in open relationships. They both agreed to meet and hook up at TwitchCon. Unless there's something else here, which it seems like there's another set of allegations here, I'm not really seeing anything. I feel like this probably didn't need to make it to the internet. It almost seems like they understood that pirate software was getting a massive hate wave. And unfortunately, there is a massive incentive to try and come forward with stories to try and, be cool. Because, being a victim online is cool, mostly. I'm just going to be, real. There's a massive amount of clout that you can get from it. You can build your platform off being a victim. Being a victim is just cool to many people nowadays. In early March 2019, I charged back my $800 donation made in August 2018. Thor would publicly call me out by name and make posts on Twitter painting me as a scammer. On April 1st, 2019, Thor filed a DMCA claim against my YouTube channel. Why did he file a DMCA? Why'd he file a DMCA? What? In response to my Twitter post, Thor would claim that his strike was to prevent me as a scammer from profiting off his work. Thor employs an us versus them narrative when he employs himself as the victim of a scammer, as a villain who is trying to profit off his work. Thor, small good guy, lyric bad guy. Okay. So basically, you made an $800 donation. I assume this is through PayPal, right? Because PayPal has a chargeback protection. And then Thor tweeted this out. Charging back an $800 donation 190 days after giving it to a small indie studio results in situations like this. As someone scamming us out of our income, I will fight you into the ground to prevent you from making a single cent off of our work. Okay. I mean, I don't know. Thor reached out to me about 24 hours after I published my Heartbound video. Great cover, but unfortunately you monetized the video, which is against our community guidelines. Please refer to... okay. I mean, I haven't heard of any video, and maybe I'm just being fucking stupid here, but I haven't heard of any video game that you don't make money off of when you're playing the game. Any video game you play, and if you monetize the video of your gameplay, I haven't heard of a situation where a game development studio just either DMCA's it or demonetizes it and makes all the money that you would have made off that video. I haven't really heard of a situation like that. So this is very strange. This is the first time I'm hearing that. If anyone else knows a situation like that, feel free to leave it in the comments below. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of shitty if that's true. There you go. I also don't think Pirate Software needed to make a whole tweet about it. There you go. Yeah, that's kind of shitty. Yeah, okay, there you go. Despite the fact that he did not permit my videos to be monetized, Thor encouraged me to make content with his music. Hey, Thor, should I do every Heartbound song? Dude, yes. Okay, so he's very clearly encouraging you to make content. Yeah, okay, there you go. This is shitty. Yeah, I mean, this is shitty. Yeah, so following this, I would arrange at least 20 songs for Thor, only through published due to my recent schedule. I believe wanting more content is generally a normal thing for a game developer to want. Yeah, I mean, it is. Right? You want content creators to be making money off of your game. So yeah, I mean, this is very childish of Thor. Yeah, there you go. On April 5th, 2019, I posted about the strike on Twitter and Thor would continue calling me out on the chargeback. I responded with a Google Doc recounting my experience with Thor at TwitchCon. I don't think anything happened at TwitchCon, to be honest with you. I really don't think anything happened. It, like, what happened between you guys was consensual, and, like, I don't see any form of manipulation, like, based on the screenshots that I'm seeing here. I couldn't find any manipulation. I couldn't find anything else. Like, I don't know. There were 3 aspects to Thor's defense. Thor's divorced. Lyric docs Thor. Lyric planned this and he is a scammer. Okay, only ferrets. Except he doesn't and never did. Thor and I weren't together. Him and his wife are divorced. You tried to push this. Okay, so River Makes is like this, I believe they're the, like, one of... Who are they to Thor again? Like, because I know I saw this person in Thor's bio. Thor has, like, 2 people in his bio. So I assume maybe he was in, like, some open relationship or something. I don't fucking know. You tried to push this, push yourself onto him, and then onto me when he rejected you. Did you forget all the times you spent on my arm at TwitchCon? Okay. From what I've gathered, you totally made up the part about him sleeping with me and you and your wife at the same time because he is not with his wife. I'm going to be, like, absolutely real. I don't think this Lyric person, to my knowledge, is a malicious liar. I believe what probably wound up happening was Lyric probably opened up about, like, what they went through, which I don't think is that deep based on what I'm seeing so far. They opened up, like, to, like, a friend or something, or, like, a trusted individual, and then that friend was like, oh my god, like, you actually got, like, something terrible fucking happened to you, and they, like, over-affirmed it. When you are in a vulnerable state, this is often how we see these things manifest, is when you're in a vulnerable state, you know, it's very easy for people to socially, like, you're susceptible to all kinds of shifts in your emotions based on what other people tell you when you're in a vulnerable state. That's why when you go to see a therapist, it's very, a good therapist anyways, they're very careful not to overvalidate or undervalidate your trauma, because if they overvalidate your trauma, that can be, like, an additional trauma, and they can, like, make it seem worse than it actually is. That can be, like, an additional trauma. But if they downplay it, then obviously that's, like, not good, because then what the fuck is the point of, like, therapy? Like, it's for you, right? So they are very careful to try to meet you where you're at. And generally speaking, I notice, like, good friends will generally do that with you. But I think unintentionally, like, maybe one of Lyric's friends might have... I wouldn't doubt that maybe one of Lyric's friends, like, they probably were talking with Lyric, and then they said, oh my god, this horrible thing happened to you. He manipulated you. He sexually abused you and did all this, like, crap, blah, 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 like, all this stuff. So I don't know if, like, Lyric is doing this maliciously. Maybe it is. I mean, it is very convenient that this is just coming out when Pirate Software becomes the butt end of everyone's jokes, so who knows? I guess we'll find out as time goes on, but, like, that's kind of, like, my interpretation of it. I don't know. So GG on the fact. Additionally, regretting a relationship and sexual reaction after the fact does not mean he used you. Yeah, I mean, that's literally my take. That's literally my take. I don't think they're romantic either, considering they're divorced, but I mean, like, I feel like that's a pretty normal take. Thor doxed and altered messages. I agree, but Lyric released Telegram chat logs, which includes Thor's personal phone number. Wait, is that true? Did they actually, like, dox Thor? That's kind of crazy, if that's true. Okay. So he's essentially gotten doxxed, and people have already started subscribing to him to shit with his number. As part of his attack messages, he posted in numerous chat logs, some of which were modified or contained. Okay. Okay. There were 3 aspects to Thor's defense. Thor is divorced. Lyric doxed Thor. Lyric planned this, and he is a scammer. Okay. I mean, like, I don't know if Lyric is a scammer. If the phone number thing is real, I don't know if that would be necessarily a full dox. That's still not good. You shouldn't be giving out phone numbers like that. But doxing is more like releasing someone's address and like leaking their face and stuff like that. That's what generally I would consider. I don't know. I mean, like, in reality, Thor was married from October 17th, 2015 to October 18th, 2020. Okay, so I don't know if I care too much about this. We already established earlier that they were in a open marriage, so I don't really care too much about this. To be honest with you, I'm not really, like, super caring about this. It's like they're divorced, but they're not, like... I don't know. Like, I don't think this detail matters that much, to be, like, absolutely real with you. Even if, like, Thor did, like, the worst case scenario and cheated on his partner or whatever, and, like, that was, like, cheating's not good, but it's not, like, cancelable. Like, I'm not really, like, I don't care too much about that, even if it is the worst case scenario. But, like, I'm pretty sure they already established they were in an open marriage earlier anyways, so, like, I don't think, like, either way, regardless of which direction you go, I don't really think this matters too much. Yeah, whatever. I don't care about any of this. The love story crap, and then the Heartbound stuff. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Thor mentions the Kickstarter might fail. Yeah, whatever. Okay, fine. I don't care about any of this. He then told the online community that I publicly leaked his phone number, even claiming that there were attacks. Members of his community would repeat this publicly, and Shay would also use this as a reason to convince my partner to convince me to delete my posts. Thor was able to lie so confidently that I even would end up believing him. Okay. At the time, I didn't read back through the chat logs, so I didn't know that was his phone number and wasn't actually there. I had another romantic partner in January 2019. Well, I think you both established that you were open earlier, right? I'm pretty sure you already did. And you also said you wanted to date him while you were with your other partner as well. So I don't know. Thor and Shay would contact my partner and convince them of my wrongdoing. Told my partner that I had doxed and attacked them. Let's see. It's been really tough for us, especially considering the timing and the amount of the chargeback. We're still trying to fight it with PayPal. I don't know if we're going to win the case. I hope he changes mind and reverses the chargeback. As for the attack messages, he's been posting them as of recently, so I hope... Yeah, like, listen, my take on chargebacks is I think it's a little bit shitty, I'm not going to lie, that you would donate a large amount of money and then charge it all back just because you want it to, like, get, like, a streamer's attention or whatever. I think that is a little bit shitty. I know PayPal has that protection. Unless, like, the streamer's an asshole, then I feel, like, less bad about it. I don't know if PayPal has this protection today, though. Like, I not to my knowledge. I could be totally wrong on that. But this was back in 2018, so this could have been, like, a long time ago. As for the attack messages, he's been posting them recently as of yesterday in a conversations, yada, yada, yada. As part of his attack messages, he posted numerous chat logs, some of which were modified and contain our lead developer's personal phone number contact info. He has also made public statements claiming that I was in a relationship with our lead developer and that he was cheating on his wife as well. He is divorced and I've never had a relationship with him. During the times he claimed he was having a situationship with Thor, the developer, he was hanging on my arm and being overly affectionate with me at TwitchCon. The claims he's making have led to his community attacking us on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and over Thor's personal phone number. We have tried reaching out to Twitter and Google to delete that information he posted as it contains personal contact information, but they have not yet responded. Okay, so let's unpack all of this, right? Basically, you are claiming that he abused you and manipulated you for financial gain and sexual gain. I'm not really seeing any manipulation. I'm not really seeing any abuse. I'm not really seeing any... Like, this is not emotion. Emotional abuse is actively degrading someone. Like, Thor is a little bit aggressive at times, but I wouldn't really label that as emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is a lot more extreme than that. Emotional abuse is very specific. I unfortunately think that the internet has a very, very... they tend to conflate a lot of different issues like these. I I'm not really seeing any manipulating for sexual needs or whatever, because it was both consensual and you were engaging back with him. You even asked him out that you wanted to date him as well. I'm not really part of the crew that say, oh, but he manipulated them, because there's a power dynamic and there's a fan. I know there's going to be a lot of people that bring that up. Power dynamics exist in every relationship, okay? I don't like the power dynamic argument, because there's so many fucking people that bring up this point, but they don't actually understand what the fuck they're talking about at all. They just like regurgitate this point because they hear it from someone else. And I don't really like that. Power dynamics exist between you and your boss. Power dynamics can exist between someone who makes 150k a year or 40k a year. Power dynamics exist between me and my older brother. My older brother could beat the fuck out of me if he wanted to. He obviously is not going to do that. He's a bigger guy than me, but he's obviously not going to do that. But yeah, there's a power dynamic there. I cannot recall a time where he's ever abused that power dynamic, right? The overall point that I'm making is, just because a power dynamic exists does not mean a power dynamic is being abused, right? So the only time there is an abuse of a power dynamic, not the only time, I'm sure there's like other cases you can name as well, but one of the more explicit examples that I look for is if Thor would leverage his power and put them in a position where they cannot say no at all. So if Thor was like, hey, if you don't charge me back this money, I will leak your nudes or something, that's an abuse of a power dynamic. Or if you do fuck me, I will take something, I'll give something to you, that's an abuse of a power dynamic. That would be the explicit stuff that I would look for. So yeah, so far I am not really seeing anything super cancel worthy here. It kind of just, I don't know. I can't, what I am having trouble determining is whether or not this person came forward because Thor was already in the midst of getting a lot of heat from the internet, or if, I mean, the timing of it's very convenient. So, like, I wouldn't doubt that that's probably the case, but there's nothing, like, explicit that confirms that, or maybe if, like, Lyric's friend, like, gaslit them unintentionally, thinking that maybe, gaslight's a terrible fucking word, because gaslighting requires intention. Like, gaslight's a terrible fucking word. Like, if they, like, unintentionally shifted their emotions about how they felt about the past, right? I guess they made a lot of edits to this. They said last edit was, June 23rd, so I'll quickly sift through this. I think most of this is stuff we've already read before, but, I'll look into this again. My name is Lyric. This is Lyric, apparently. This is what they've posted. College student completing my undergrad. I was on Dean's list, yada, yada, yada. So you're just introducing yourself. Okay, got it. Cool. And then there's Thor. This is like the most hilarious fucking image of fucking pirate software that holy shit. This is his online presence. Shay, who is the partner. Yep. Cool. Okay. One of his wives. Anyways, or I guess ex-wife now because they got a divorce. I made a Twitter post about my situation in 2019. Thor turned the public against me by claiming he was not married, that I doxed him, that I planned this entire situation. Yeah, I mean, he did mention that they tried, like, exposing him earlier. Like, I remember Pirate Software, like, in his response mentioned that briefly. Thor came to an agreement with my partner saying he would delete the Pirate Software side of a post on Twitter Discord. This would lead me to delete my post and save the relationship, but Thor left all of his posts up. See chronology for more details. How I met Thor. I'm just, like, going to quickly skim through this because I think most of this is not really worth it. So, yeah, I mean, they met up at TwitchCon and presumably hooked up. I mean, I guess we'll never know for sure, but, like, either way, it was consensual, so I don't really care. Effects on my life. Okay, TwitchCon meetup. He constantly pushed for us to meet up at TwitchCon at 2018. He would regularly bring it up. Okay. I'm going to have a lot of fun. Oh, we already read this. I mean, like, I don't know, like, you definitely, like, if you weren't comfortable with meeting up at TwitchCon, you have to set boundaries. Like, it's important whether you're in a situationship or when you're just talking to someone or if you're in a relationship, you have to set boundaries. It's important. Obviously, like, this person was very young at the time, and so, like, it's just something you have to learn as you get older. But, like, it's important to just set boundaries. On the first day, we roamed with Shay and some other streamers. By night, the group went to a bar, but I could not join since I was... I don't like this fucking framing because you're underage to drink. You're not a minor. I don't like this this framing is almost a little bit deceptive. I hope, like, we understand this, right? Sent screenshots of the conversation where I guided Thor to my hotel room. Okay. So yeah, you charged back. Obviously, Thor would make a public call, which was kind of petty. I don't think you needed to make this public. I feel like Thor could have just, like, dealt with this behind the scenes and it would have been okay. Like, charging back, I think, is a little shitty after you donate a shit ton of money. I think charging back is definitely a little bit shitty. Especially, like, there are tons of people who donate large amounts of money just to get a streamer's attention. There are a lot of people that used to do that. We don't really see that as much. And then they would charge it all back just for attention. It's, like, very, you know. On April 1st, 2019, Thor filed a DMCA claim against my YouTube channel. On April 5th, 2019, I posted about the strike on my Twitter, and Thor would continue calling me out on the chargeback. I responded with a Google Doc recounting my experience with Thor at TwitchCon. In reality, Thor was married from October 17, 2015. Yep. I think we've already read this. Including Thor's personal number. Do we, we don't need to see, like, the, actual phone number, but do we have, like, any evidence that, like, they released Thor's number? I found another romantic partner in January 2019. Yeah, so we knew this. This checks out with all the proof that we saw. I mean, on April 14, 2019, I was coerced to delete all my posts. Do we have proof of this? Of this, like, coercion? He agreed to delete all my posts. Do we, like, I need more than this. He calls off the attack. Alright, just to make sure, if he deletes every single thing from Twitter. Okay, so, just to be clear, coercion implies that there was, like, a level of forcing you to do something. You were not forced to delete your posts. There is no coercion here. Coercion is, like, deliberate predatory. When I hear the word coercion, I think of, like, predatory behavior, like the power dynamic argument I was talking about earlier. That's what I think of when I think of coercion. So I'm not, like, I don't think coercion is the right word here. Like, if you want to be super charitable to this lyric person, maybe they just, like, are not, like, I maybe their friend, like, told them that this was, like, worse than it actually was. That's, like, the charitable approach. Like, if you want it to be super uncharitable, you can say, like, they're doing this for attention. I can't say for certain if they are doing this for attention. I wouldn't be able to make that assertion. But, like, I just, like, it's very clear to me that the language here is a little bit sensationalized. That's really, like, what I'm getting at. Effects on my life. During these events, I was in college, double majoring in mechanical engineering and aerospace engineering. I maintained a 3.92 GPA over the first 4 semesters. After the events of mid-fall, my GPAs were then, and then after that semester, I dropped out. Well, we don't even know if that has any, we don't even know if these interactions with Thor have anything to do with that. Like, you seem to be insinuating that, but, like, there's not really much of a correlation between your GPA dropping and then, like, these events happening. Like, I don't know. Like, I agree making the public post and then sending harassment your way, presumably, because the internet's fucking crazy, is not good, but I don't think your GPA dropping would have anything to do with this. I don't know why this is in the post. In April 2019, when I tried to speak out, Thor turned everyone against me. Yep. I wouldn't doubt that part, because, like, Pirate Software made, like, a public tweet against them, and so, like, obviously you can't control your fans. Like, obviously you have a level of responsibility with what you do with your fans, but there's only so much you can do. Instead, I had people vandalize my Google Doc. Lyrics Google Doc now deleted. No, what? I hate the way this is laid out. No offense. Sorry, that has been deleted. Oh, okay. Cool. So I can't even see it. All right, cool stuff. Accuse me of doxing and attacking Thor. We saw this already. I felt abandoned by everyone once I felt a desire to create free educational content was replaced with inadequacy and abandonment. I posted less and less, and I stopped making content. You see, I wouldn't doubt that this was the case, but listen, I'm not trying to be an asshole. Like, I'm reading through this, but it's like, I don't know. It kind of just seems like you want to blame Thor for, like, I don't know. It kind of just seems like you want to blame Thor for your GPA dropping, but it just, like, I don't know. I don't think this is, I don't think this has anything to do with that. I just thought I wasn't smart enough. After reviewing my transcripts, I can see that they tell a different story entirely. Well, I just don't think that's true. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I read through it, and so far, I'm not, like, seeing anything super, like... I'm gonna be real with you. I just don't see anything, like, bad here, you know? Like, the worst case scenario, right? I would say the worst thing Thor did was, pretty much, intentionally or not, send fans to attack Lyric, right? I think that's probably the worst thing that's happened. Like, that's not good. That probably is... That is shitty. And, like, you shouldn't do that. But I feel like it's a far cry to what this document is insinuating here. TwitchCon 2018, I think we worked on most of this. Apparently it's a work in progress and they're still, like, editing stuff here, but I just don't know. I don't know if there's anything they can add that would change my mind about any of this. Yeah, I'm gonna be absolutely real with you. I don't think we necessarily need to read anything else. I think we got most of the information that we needed from this. I'm not really seeing anything that's, like, super cancel-worthy from Thor. They did sext each other. They were, like, two furries sexting and role-playing. They obviously had a situationship. Oh, sorry about that. They obviously had, like, a situationship and stuff, and they talked a lot. And they met up at TwitchCon. They probably hooked up. Like, whatever. It was consensual. I don't think the age gap... I think the age gap is weird, for sure, but it's not a predatory age gap. I'm not really seeing any sort of bad... I don't know. I'm not really seeing anything that's cancel-worthy here, to be absolutely real with you. I think, at worst, Thor acted very inappropriately when he posted the PayPal situation. I think he should have kept that privately. But I'm not seeing any manipulation from Pirate Software. I'm not really seeing any sort of coercion like that's being implied here. My theory is that I think Lyric probably thought that this situation was worse than it actually was. I don't think they were intentionally trying to do this for clout. Not that I can see anyways. So yeah, I pretty much still stand by every other time I've looked into this situation. I just think these allegations are kind of a nothing burger, to be absolutely real with you. I really tried, like, looking through as much as I could. The power dynamic argument is fucking stupid, and it really falls apart when you look at it. I've never understood the power dynamic argument at all. It's very terminally online. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Like, I don't really have much else to say. Like, Pirate Software is a piece of shit, and I don't think he does himself any favors for the criticism that he gets online. But these allegations are kind of a nothing. I'm going to be honest with you. So, yeah, that's it.